This week on Angelo's Motorcycle, we're going to put the CFMOTO 700 CLX Classic, the 650 NK, and the 300 NK up against each other in demo rides at Sportline Power Products in Queensbury, New York, so that my buddy Joel can pick one and buy one and take it home to New Jersey for his back road fun. Stick around. Okay, the first bike up is the CLX 700. Joel's gonna take us away. So while we watch Joel ride the 700 CLX, I will share with you his system that he shared with me for how he was going to make this purchasing decision. My friend Joel's one of the smartest people I know, and he's been motorcycling a very long time and has such a high level of experience, and he knows exactly what he wants. And so when he wants to create, when he's going to buy a motorcycle, and I would advise this for all of you who are thinking about getting a motorcycle or thinking about, especially if you're starting out, consider what's important to you, make a list, which is exactly what he did. He considered what was important to him, he made a list, and I'm going to share with you his list. So his general questions, he wanted to compare warranty terms and length, technical features such as GPS, cruise control, riding modes, LED lighting, whether the motorcycle has a slipper clutch. Could he put a windscreen on it if he ever wanted to? Could he add bags or racks if he ever wanted to? And then he had his personal considerations. How easy is this going to be to move around in the garage? He has a limited amount of space. And then again, along those lines, the size of the motorcycle, the length and width of each motorcycle for the space considerations. He also was concerned about being able to go on the highway. He wants to be able to go on the highway for small distances. And he wants to be able to go on maybe small trips with bags and a rack if possible. The economy, of course, the fuel economy of the machine. The engine characteristics. He was considering the low-end torque versus the high-end revs. Of course, he was concerned with ergonomics. You should be concerned with that whenever you're buying a motorcycle. Future wind protection if needed. And then, of course, he was concerned about the total cost when comparing them all, and the value for the cost. And then, of course, his last one, which I think is the most important, smile on his face at the end of the ride. That's actually on the list right here, and something that you should consider as well. So that is what he was considering as far as his purchasing decision. Let's watch some more riding, and then we'll talk about each of the three motorcycles, how they compared and contrasted to each other, his thoughts on all three of them, and then the final decision and what he chose. Up next, Joel is going to ride the 300 NK. Before we took off with it, we were concerned about the ergonomics. We were surprised to find that he fit on it just fine and was very comfortable on the 300 NK. While we watch Joel ride the 300 NK, let's talk a little bit about each motorcycle and the differences between them and the similarities between them as far as specifications go. And there will be a page that's going to show up at the end of the video that you'll be able to pause and you'll be able to see all of this information. So comparing the three motorcycles on price, the 300 NK is $41.99 plus, the 650 NK is $64.99 plus, and the 700 CLX is $67.99 plus. The 300 NK is a 292cc single with 29.2 horsepower at 8750 RPM, 18.7 pound-feet of torque at 7250. The 650 NK is a 649cc parallel twin with 60 horsepower at 8750 RPM and 41.3 pound-feet of torque at 7000 RPM. The 700 CLX is a 693cc parallel twin with 74 horsepower at 8500 RPM and 50.2 pound-feet of torque at 8500 RPM, making the 700 CLX the most powerful of the three, the 650 NK a close second, and the 300 NK coming in third. All three motorcycles feature a slipper clutch. We were also evaluating size. The CLX 700 CLX is the longest wheelbase at 56.5. The 650 NK wheelbase is 55.7. and the 300 NK is 53.5. Seat heights. The seat heights were all very comparable. The 300 NK was 31.2, the 650 NK slightly lower at 30.7, and then the 700 CLX slightly higher at 31.5. Fuel capacity, 3.3 gallon tank for the 300. The 450 has a 4.5 gallon tank, and the 700, interestingly, has a 3.4 gallon tank. Talking about weight, the 300 NK weighs a mere 333 pounds. The 650 NK coming in at 454, the 700 CLX at 432. Miles per gallon. On CFMOTO's website, they claim 100 miles per gallon on the 300 NK. The 650 NK is a 47 mile per gallon, and then the 700 CLX, they rate at 58 miles per gallon. All of the motorcycles have ABS. The 700 CLX adds the beauty of traction control. The 300 and the 650 both have the 5-inch TFT display with the app function. And the 700 CLX has an LCD display. And while that motorcycle does function with the app, it is limited. It doesn't display anything from the app on the TFT like the other motorcycles do. However, the 700 CLX adds cruise control, throttle-by-wire, and self-canceling signals, which the other two motorcycles did not have. The other thing I would like to point is that here in the United States, besides the 300 NK, there is also a 300 SS available, which features full body work, a slightly smaller gas tank at 3.1 gallons of fuel, a slightly lower seat height at 30.7 inches, and of course a slightly higher price tag for $4,499 plus. While we were stopped at that stop sign, I was checking out his ergonomics. His leg is bent at what looks to be a comfortable angle, and we were talking the whole time on comms and going back and forth and discussing the motorcycles, and we were all very pleasantly surprised at just how wonderful the 300 NK was as far as ergonomics for a small motorcycle. And Joel's not a short guy. He's 6 foot anyway. He's a lot taller than me. And he was very comfortable on the machine. He felt very at home on it. It's lightweight and flickable. And we just enjoyed riding all three of these machines. They were a lot of fun. And all three are great machines. I don't think you could go wrong selecting any one of them, for whatever reasons are on your list. And there's the 650 NK. The third and final bike that we rode this day was the 650 NK. And while we watched Joel ride the 650 NK, let's talk about what he ended up choosing. And why. Joel ended up choosing the 300 NK for a lot of reasons. I think some of it was aesthetics. I think some of it was cost. And then a lot of it was the fact that it could do everything that the other two motorcycles did also, and it does it very well. So the number 2 and the number 3 choices, according to Joel, were very close. So the 650 and the 700 came in very close next to each other. They're both about the same length. The 650 is slightly narrower. So slight advantage to the 650 in his tight garage space. The 650 also had the TFT display with the GPS navigation capability and dual disc brakes versus the single disc brake for the CLX. He said the handling felt very light and the engine response was very quick revving. The 700 CLX makes more horsepower and torque, and feels more deliberate in steering and acceleration responses, maybe more torque monstery, if you know what I mean, he says. He also really liked the unusual styling of the 700 CLX. So on paper, the 650 NK came out ahead for him, but just barely. And overall, he said that he would probably prefer the CLX because of the styling and his personal preference rather than any objective measurement. The 700 CLX also has the self-canceling turn signals and the advantage of electronic cruise control, though he did mention that the way that the turn signal switch is, you don't get a definitive detent when you have the turn signal on. And I have that same complaint about my 700 CLX. Obviously, it's the same bike. I own one as well. And the turn signal is there's no definitive click when you turn it on, and then there's no definitive click when you cancel it, if you cancel it manually. Joel says, so there you have it. I chose the 300 NK. The 700 CLX is second, and the 650 NK comes in third. And keep in mind that this is just his personal preferences for what he was looking for this motorcycle to do. He also adds, but there is no bad choice in this group, and I'm sure I could be happy with any one of these fine machines. And he adds, and who knows, I might still decide to pick another one of them up. And that's one of the great things about CFMOTO and their price point. You know, the prices being so low to what they are, and the value that you get, you know, it's very easy to say, okay, do I want to buy, you know, one Japanese machine, or do I want to have, you know, 2 or 3 CFMOTOs? I've made the comparison on my channel already that, hey, you know, I own a 22 Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10R, which was $18,000. For that money, I could have an adventure sport, a naked sport, and a fun little sport bike from CFMOTO. So do you buy the 3 motorcycles, or do you buy the 1 motorcycle for the same money? That's a really hard sell, and something to definitely take into account when you're considering the purchase of your motorcycle. You want to consider all of your parts of what I call your mission. What are you going to use this motorcycle for the most, and how is this motorcycle going to fit that mission? But then also there's economics. You know, how much price am I going to spend on this machine? If you've got 2 machines that are comparable and both can fulfill the mission, and maybe one has a better warranty than the other, because CFMOTO does offer 2-year warranty on these bikes, and most of the Japanese manufacturers are only doing 1 year at this point. If you've got a better warranty and you've got lesser cost, you know, that's money that you could spend on better gear to enhance how you're riding. That's money that you could spend on additions to the motorcycle, such as auxiliary lighting or luggage or a better windshield or whatever you're thinking on how you could customize this machine to suit your mission better. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these bikes. Here are all the specs on all 3 machines. This will show for 10 seconds, so go ahead and pause it and read as much as you like. So Joel completed his purchase of his 300 NK, and then we loaded it up on the trailer, and it went back to New Jersey, where he has been having a tremendous amount of fun with it. Please go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share. All those things help me out. Also, check me out on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, all under Angelo's Motocycle. Thank you for tuning in and watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you all next Friday for another video on Angelo's Motocycle.